All right, give it up for Rob again, who's hitting up the stage.
Am I wrong? Wrong to want what's there, to take, to hold, to want. What all seems to have and I don't, to get up, to go and run. How lonely it would be without distraction and peace. What would I do without the luxury of convenience? Stores set up to help us buy. Am I wrong to give in? Is it really wrong to sin? How did this all come to what it is instead of what it should have been? Why do we do without question or doubt? We are not ignorant. We just don't feel like fighting that much. Am I wrong? Wrong to accept wrong when looking into lovers' eyes during a song. Forgiveness above all is what we both long. How wrong can it be when it feels so right? Conformity jeopardizes our shining light. Am I weird? Weird to talk while none understand, all breath to be wasted and thrown in the can, sifting golden platelets of sand to find what everyone else finds precious. Weird that I should choose not to sell my soul and mind to the flashing lights and overtaxed prices of men dumber than me to manipulate and grow, while destroying the chance to harvest minds instead of just steal their time while they are blind to the signs of passing times, crying, I watch. But because I don't give in, it's him who wins. Victory how? Logic cannot reason, as sure as the coming of every season, so I seem weird because I work, because I try. I take minimum pay for each day in order to hope to win at the end of the day. Am I crazy? Maybe just give in and play a fugazi and never get to know really who I am while posing to like something that doesn't really amaze me. I can't do that. But I don't know what to do. Why do I feel alienated from society when doing good is usually my priority? While we live in a time of a fallen economy, I refuse to let someone take my love from inside of me. Whether weird or crazy, I don't want a lobotomy. I want to feel the good and the bad with people beside me. When I cry on their shoulder, they got mine anytime they need. Without question or doubt, here's my hand anytime you need. But because I don't dress in the way that is normal, you treat me like a stranger, very stupid and formal. Don't clap because you have to. Don't smile if it's not funny, because at the end of the day, there's no need for any money. Or shit that we do if we don't really mean it. You know what I mean? Every one of you've seen it. Am I nuts? Crazy, stumbling, mumbling, stuttering, puttering, shaking, waking, baking, time taken, overall possibly mistaken what's true for who I really am, man. All I know is this. That reward given it long day of work. When finished the planting and tilling of dirt, comes a glow that shines like the sun in the day, melting my stresses and fears all away, with embrace of a woman who loves me for me, and the strength and support of my family. I may be wrong, but that's just who I am. I may be weird like green eggs and ham. I may be crazy, actually. I know that I am. I may be nuts. Crush me and mix me with some jam. And create a nice snack for your mind to feast. Even though you don't even know me in the least, I continue to learn and rise like yeast, and look for the sun every morning in the east. Whether crazy or nuts, I will always come through, and this above all, to mine own self be true. So call me what you want, whatever words that you use. Just remember, I might be wrong, I might be weird, I might be crazy, and I might be nuts, but I'll never be like you.
My bad. All right, coming up next to the mic is Eclectic Ernie again to give us some more lovely stories. So give it up for Ernie.
Thank you. Yes, this time I have a story. It's a short one. It's a story. I came up with a title for these stories that I write sometimes, and I call them observational stories. well, what happens, I observe something that kind of makes me think about all kinds of weird things, and I come up with a little story or something, or a little weird kind of explanation. So this one is called Western Long Island. Okay? I think it fits Halloween kind of atmosphere. You could dress up like some of these people. It's a mysterious land. So here. For centuries, people have been wondering about lost continents like Atlantis or new lands that time forgot, lands in the center of the earth, and so on. I'd like to point out that sometimes these forgotten mythical places may exist, or may have existed, right in your backyard, so to speak. Let me direct your thinking processes towards one such place. When you drive around New York City, you see lots of signs directing you to Eastern Long Island. But there are no signs for Western Long Island, and you do not hear anyone mentioning that forgotten land. I became intrigued by this seemingly unbalanced geographical anomaly. It is absolutely inconceivable that the eastern part of an island could exist as a singularity, totally without its counterpart, the western island. I did some research, pieced together my findings, and I have come to this astonishing conclusion. Western Long Island was once as real as Eastern Long Island is today. As a matter of fact, I believe that it still exists in some kind of dusty, unvisitable dimension. All of my sources are in total agreement about the basic facts that I will now reveal to you. That is without the exception of the chronology of it all. One source insists that as recently as 1948, that magnate, philanderer, and secret murderer, according to Cat's Meow, Mr. William Randolph Scott, has actually maintained a very large estate on that part of the island. The roots of it all are somewhat shrouded in mystery, but it seems that about 200 or perhaps 300 years ago, some of the classiest of Boston society decided that Beantown was becoming too crass for their stratospheric highnesses. They quietly moved their affairs and their residences to Western Long Island. Please keep in mind, these were the most aristocratic elite in the country. Why, their accent was so nasal that me and you would probably not understand even half of what they were saying. That may have eventually led to their downfall. Western Long Island was separated from Eastern Long Island by a very narrow isthmus, allowing only a very narrow two-lane road as the only connection between the land masses. Many of the lower classes traveled this road because there was lots of menial work that needed to be done, you know, cooks, valets, gardeners, governesses, nannies, au pairs, chauffeurs, etc. Anyway, here's where we get to the nasal part. As our group of aristos had less and less contact with the rest of the world, the nasality, or nasality, how to pronounce that, of their accent became more and more pronounced to the point that it started affecting the size of their nostrils, which became larger and larger and larger. As a matter of fact, the size and sensitivity of one's nose became a mark of distinction, influencing the desirability of a proper life partner. As their nostrils grew, their speech became more and more intelligible to outsiders. These aliens, speaking a language that was impossible to pronounce with only your average nose, were not even making an effort to be understood. They didn't seem to care about worldly affairs, and after a while, a Gulliver's Travels fan dubbed them the new Hoinhumhums. Less and less menials frequented Western Long Island because they could not understand what these strange people with the otherworldly noses were trying to say to them. Eventually, everyone would just drive past the fort to Western Long Island and go on about their own business. It is said that William Hearst was the last outsider to set foot on Western Long Island. He was not one of them, but being so rich and influential, he had managed to keep his place for a long time. Of course, he was rarely there, and when he was, he usually came and went with his own very large entourage, not at all mingling with the Western Long Islanders. Be that as it may, he may have been overheard saying that the place looked totally deserted with not a soul around. The road to Western Long Island was quite quickly covered with weeds, and the entrance to it, that no one used anymore anyway, was hidden by the trees and vegetation that border all of New York State's highways. The last few native Eastern Long Islanders that had set foot on that part of Long Island have since passed on to a different and hopefully better world. No one knows what became of the new Houyhnhnms and how they had all seemed to vanish, according to Hearst anyway. There are a few theories, mostly too ridiculous to recount, but I will mention one that I kind of favor. As their nostrils evolved, they were of course used more and more to make sounds of derision and disdain, giving rise to a new and otherwise never heard of general psychosis. Basically, the Houyhnhnms became so annoyed and belligerent that they snorted each other. The one Grand Dane with the most prolific schnoz of them all eventually died of chronic alienation. Thank you.
All of a sudden I have like this intense need to sneeze or something. Oh, this nostrils Long Island talk.